Welcome everyone to 2 ways to control your Microsoft costs. We're going to be having a Q&A session during this. You can go into your little icon at the top, click on Q&A, and we will try to answer any questions along the way. With that, I'm going to hand this off to Michael Sieber. Have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin. Chris, hit that next slide. Thank you, Kevin, again. Welcome, everybody, and I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with us to learn, as Kevin said, a couple ways we're able to assist with controlling your Microsoft costs. As Kevin said, my name is Michael Sieber. I'm a Senior Portfolio Director, Digital Solutions here at Sirius, and I'm joined today with one of my newest esteemed colleagues, Chris Pyle, President of MessageOps, as host of today's session.
How you doing? Thanks for inviting me, Michael. Thanks.
Chris, it's great to have you here. And we'll be joined a little bit later by Rob Vogel, also from MessageOps, who's going to be reviewing one of the specific programs that we're going to be covering off on today. Next, Chris. So let's take a quick look at the agenda here. After a couple quick slides, and I'm going to cover off on the positioning in MessageOps, we're going to get to the meat of the matter here with Chris and Rob. Chris is going to go over the organization itself, MessageOps, as well as a couple specific cost management offerings that MessageOps now brings to the table as part of Sirius. Rob Vogel's then going to review signature support, and that's an offering created by MessageOps as a great alternative to what's typically more expensive support offerings directly from Microsoft. As Kevin mentioned, if you want to be hitting up that Q&A at the top of your screen, we'll get to that as we can through the session. But anything that we're not able to get to, if time does not permit, we'll certainly follow up offline and get back. Next. All right. So who is MessageOps, this newest division of Sirius? Next. So many on this call, you're either current customers of Sirius, and some may be legacy MessageOps clients who are new to the Sirius family. But regardless, right? I mean, all of us as organizations facing numerous challenges in business today, right? The top three of which there, I think, are rather topical. Clearly, we've been met with extreme change in how we're operating, disrupted by what many would call this disaster known as COVID-19, right? You know, we were already facing these before and other challenges, and a movement to cloud and in fact, digital transformation overall that began years ago. And within the last year was accelerated tremendously. Next. Now, Sirius as an organization, you know, you're familiar with, I think we skipped a slide, but that's fine. Sirius as an organization, right, you know, we've been focused on supporting our clients, helping you manage your operations, IT, securing it, and helping you transform your business. So we've been doing that for a number of years. Microsoft is certainly one of those organizations, or excuse me, one of those vendors that has a leading role in helping customers, you know, enabling them to do that transformation, right? To help manage their operation, secure it, and do that in a way that makes sense and is cost effective for them. So while we as Sirius had a relationship with Microsoft, and we've been building out capabilities across the company for a number of years, we realized too that we as Sirius needed to accelerate our internal transformation in terms of how we were bringing Microsoft to market. So Microsoft has so much to offer to clients, right? But there are just nuances to how they operate, understanding how to maximize their value. And so we looked out there to say, okay, who could we work with as an organization to bring into the Sirius family that would help us accelerate that transformation? Chris, next slide. So as many of you are aware, right, Sirius, we've got a history of growth through acquisition, right? Bringing additional capabilities to our clients to help serve your needs, right? Since our founding over 40 years ago, right, we've grown to become one of the largest solution integrators in the US with offerings to help best serve your ever-evolving business needs. MessageOps, as you can see on the right-hand side, they're the latest and frankly, one of the most strategic, if not the most strategic, from a Microsoft Cloud perspective. In fact, I can say they are the Microsoft Cloud acquisition. I've had the distinct pleasure of working with a number of people on that team, Kevin, Rob, and Chris in particular. And I'm delighted at this point just to turn it over to Chris now, President of MessageOps. And he's going to take us through a bit of who they are, how they are helping clients today in ways that we couldn't do that before as Sirius. And as I said, it's just been a delight to be working with Chris and his team and the capabilities that they brought to Sirius that we can then offer to our clients. Chris? Take it away.
Great. Hey, Michael, thank you very much for that awesome introduction. If you were here, I would headbutt you because I'm just
a little chest butt.
I made a little chest pump. It's all good, man. All good. So some of you know who MessageOps is, but for some of you who might not know, over 7,500 companies use our intellectual property. We've migrated, Michael, to your point earlier, we got a lot of experience. We've migrated over 6 million seats to Microsoft 365, enabled over 300,000, probably closer to 500,000 people now on Microsoft Teams. We have deployed, more than 500,000 endpoints with Microsoft security solutions, deployed a tremendous amount of Azure workloads. And really, at the end of the day, we really want to provide more unique intellectual property than any other Microsoft cloud provider. Because at the end of the day, I think all of you know this, you can purchase the Microsoft cloud from a lot of people, right? You can buy it directly from Microsoft. You can go onto their website and start consuming. You can call up the local Microsoft guy down the street. You can call up one of the big players out there and work with them. But the real reason is why would you want to work with Sirius and MessageOps? And we are going to show you 2 reasons today on why you want to work with us, on how what we really try to focus on is helping you increase your productivity, help you reduce your costs, mitigate risks. And what we try to do is do that through both our services and our unique intellectual property that we're going to show 2 of them to you today. Hey, guess what? We got a lot of awards that we have won over the years. And again, it's something that we are proud of. I think number 1, Michael, really is this customer satisfaction award. Out of the thousands and tens of thousands of partners out there that Microsoft has, it's great to be recognized as the Cloud Practice Award winner and et cetera. But man, winning that Microsoft Customer Satisfaction Award, I was really proud of that. And not every partner can say that they've won that award, and that really meant something to me. We have a tremendous amount of gold competencies as well. And I think this is really key, okay? Because with Microsoft, you guys could be working with companies, and it's pretty easy. Microsoft's done a good job. I think, Kevin, you would say so. Michael, Rob, all of you would probably say they've done a pretty good job of making deploying it easy. Okay, deploying Microsoft's easy. Making it valuable to the client. Now that's hard. Okay, that's hard. Okay, deploying it's relatively, but how do we make it valuable to you, the customer? How do we unleash the business value of the investment you've made in this Microsoft technology, whether it's Microsoft 365 or the Azure cloud? And so it's not just about a point solution, it's about a holistic program. It's about giving you guys tools that come as part of your subscription, whether it's an Azure subscription or part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. We give you a lot of insights. We're going to help you manage your team. We're going to give you ways to really unleash your SharePoint opportunities, as well as show you ways to protect yourself from getting overcharged. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So I want to talk first, what we're going to talk about real quick here is this whole name of this program was 2 ways that you might not have known of how to save money with your Microsoft investment. So I'm hoping that the people that are on this call, I'm hoping that for those of you who are using Azure today, I want to just spend a few minutes on what we think is very, very important into managing your costs, okay? And we're going to just talk about that real quick. The first thing that we recommend is we here at Sirius adhere to the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, which is the CAF. And Kevin, I think you're still on, right? The CAF. I mean, how many pages is that? I mean, I think the last time I saw
963 pages, the latest release.
The latest release is 963 pages. I think the last time I saw it was over 700. Look, at the end of the day, Sirius, we're not just a bunch of cowboys coming out here telling you how to do something. We know those 900 pages plus, okay? We adhere to the cloud adoption framework, all right? So, we are not coming out here and letting somebody just go out and deploy your landing zone. We're adhering to guidelines. We're talking today about, how are you governing What's your taxonomy around your Azure environment? And again, we're adhering to the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework. For those of you who are new to Azure, I would recommend that you type that down, Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. You can pull up that. It's, like I said, 900 plus pages. We're not expecting you to read all of that because we've developed a lot of intellectual property around something we call Azure Glide Path, especially around governance to help you implement this. One of the key things in the CAF is talking about Azure budgets. Okay, and we have a lot of customers who have not set up Azure budgets yet. We have others who have set up their budgets. And I want to talk just a little bit about those. And then the other thing that we ask is that you set up Microsoft cost analysis. So when you look at the cloud adoption framework, okay, it's pretty big, right? As Kevin mentioned, 900 plus pages. It talks about defining your strategy, planning your digital estate, getting ready to move, migrating, and then how to innovate and adopt the technology. The key piece, though, that we see here, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of customers are not paying as much attention to as they should be, is the governance piece, the taxonomy, the best practices. How are we really going to have an effective management, operations baseline, operations maturity if you don't have governance? And so we really believe in this cloud adoption framework. Our solution, Glide Path, for governance is key. But we really want to make sure that if you're migrating to Azure, if you're consuming Azure, what is your North Star? And we really think that the CAF is something that all Azure users need to understand. Now, we here at Sirius, we're experts in it. We don't expect you to know as much as we do, but it is at least some type of reference architecture, something that you can reference to for those who are there looking at this collection of documents, implementation guidelines, best practices, and tools, you know, really to help accelerate and the adoption of your cloud journey. So the first thing I wanted to talk about before we get into this demonstration, okay, is Azure budgets. Azure budgets. Okay, now let's just talk about this for a second. Budgets, as you know, for anything, help you plan for and drive organizational accountability. Got it. You know, they help you inform others about their spending habits, help you proactively manage, monitor spending and progress over time and how we're doing. And you know, Kevin and Michael, you know as well as I do, this is a very nice tool that Microsoft has, and it's free. I mean, it comes with your Azure subscription. And Kevin, I think the last time you and I checked, it was amazed of how many customers are not utilizing this. They're going out and buying another tool, when the reality of it is Microsoft's got a pretty darn good tool right here.
You do have to turn it on, though, Chris. You know, a lot of people don't know where the on-off switch is.
Yeah, that's true. And then the other thing about budgets, though, that we've come to learn is, well, you know, Chris, serious, what budgets? How the hell am I supposed to plan a budget? I've never done this before. I'm a neophyte. I'm relatively new to cloud, and you're asking me to create a budget that I'm going to take to my business? You know, that's a really good question. And one that you are not alone in asking. Many other people have asked us, how the hell can I create a budget when I've never done this before? Or like, what do you mean a budget? Like, how can I do it? Because I know that running something on-prem and doing a lift and shift is not what the cloud is all about. So how can I really come up with a good budget? That's interesting. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. So it's a good point. And the other thing about budgets is what? Is they're static, right, Kevin? I mean, and Michael, right? You come up and say, hey, I'm going to spend $100,000 this year in Azure, and that's my budget. Okay, and now we're going to alert you when you're getting close to your budget, or alert me when I'm at 25% of my budget, or whatever it might be. The reality of it is budgets are good. We encourage them, but they are not the only thing that you need, okay? There's some other things that we're going to tell you. We're going to share some horror stories with you to inform you of how things can go awry if you only rely on those. The other one is now you have the budgets, right? So now you want to see how much you're spending. How are you trending against your budget? What resources are costing you the most money? etc. Once again, in the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, they talk about all these tools. And oh, by the way, they come with your subscription from Microsoft. They talk about Microsoft cost analysis to actually see where are you spending your money and how am I doing against the budget that I created.
So which is great, right? As Kevin said, right, Chris, I mean, some people just don't even know how to turn that switch on. But if we get the switch turned on, we got the budgets, we got the cost analysis. That should do it for customers, right? Is that all they need?
Oh my God, Michael, what are we on the same team here? Because that's exactly, you teed that thing up for me, brother.
I'm a good straight man.
Okay, that's a good one, man. And I'm telling you, so with a lot of the customers that we have set up with budgets, with budget alerting, with cost analysis, and some of the other tools, why is it that they still call me up sometimes at the end of a quarter and say, why the hell is my Azure bill so high? What happened? Mm-hmm. Why is my Azure bill so high? So what we've come to learn here is budgeting is important. Cost analysis is important. But what we've come to learn is that they alone cannot solve the issue. So we developed something we call Inscape Anomaly that takes us further by notifying you, the client, of any anomaly taking place down to the resource level within your Azure subscription. So what we do is we use machine learning to help you monitor your Azure consumption patterns daily. So this isn't static, okay? This is going down to the machine learning. What we ask for, and this, all the security people are going to love this, but the only thing we ask for is read cost rights against your Azure environment. That's the only thing this application is going to ask for. Read cost. So we're just sitting there and the machine learns when you first install it, it goes back 60 days and automatically learns over the past 60 days what your consumption habits and your spending habits have been. We then notify you of any cost anomaly. Every 24 hours, we get a granular track of what your spend is at the subscription, which is the big money, the resource group, which is less money, or the individual resource level, which is like a VM, a storage. And we also alert you of any deletes or ads. And I would just tell you that this isn't another tool that you have to manage. This is far from it. And we're going to show you, this is very simple. You install it and that's it. It starts learning on its own and it then alerts you. So it's not something you have to manage. It's going to help manage you when you will never be surprised by your Azure bill again. So Kevin and Michael, I mean, I'm just going to review real quick 3 of the most common reasons why customers that we have come to learn, why they get surprised by their Azure costs. And whether it's Azure, AWS, any of the cloud spends, because we are a big AWS partner as well. But why are they surprised? So I'm going to give you the first one. We had a customer come up, why the hell is my Azure bill so high? Well, after some research, what we found out was that there was a runaway query in the code. There was something wrong with what they were doing with the development. There was something awry in a ghost in their code, okay? Something ran awry, whether it was a query, whatever it might be, where the application itself started consuming resources, started consuming, whether it's storage or memory or network, all of it's different. So that is one. And most customers, they called us up and like, what the hell? They didn't realize that there was a runaway query until the end of the month when they got their bill and they're like, well, how do we consume all this? The next one was operator error. Kevin, my boss, said, Chris, I want you to run this 4-hour batch job once a month. And I swore to God, he told me, run this batch job once a night. I swore that's what he said. I swear to God, that's what he told me to do. And I didn't. So when did we find out about it? Well, we didn't find out about it to the end of the month. So human error. And then the third one, which is the worst one, was malicious activity, where we've had people call us and said, oh my God, I can't believe this. Why didn't you let me know? But this person added a bunch of resources and then quit. Nobody knew about it until the end of the month. And another one where literally they decreased some resources and that also hurt the customer. So how do we avoid this, right? So we're going to go through a quick little demonstration here of what this is about. Kevin, keep me honest here, brother. Make sure that everybody can see my my screen.
Chris, you're out of the picture now. It's all you. It's all your demo.
All right, cool. So the first thing is, before I jump in that, I just want to bring up the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. Take a look-see at it. Again, very large. We're really focusing in here on the governance and the management here. We're really good at this, but it's important. And the other things, if just going in here, it's really important. What we're going to be talking about here real today is, for those who don't know, when you set up your management groups, right, is you have your management group, which contains subscriptions. Maybe this is test, and this is dev or production. And then within the subscription, you have different resources that are made up of different resource groups. And that's the way that works. And you can see this, in this diagram here. So the first thing is if you haven't figured this out, it's important that you do to really, grow into your cloud environment, and Sirius can help you. But a lot of people are not here yet, right, Kevin? I mean, they're just not, okay? They're just not, but they don't want to be surprised by their Azure bill. So what we did is we created Inscape Anomaly. So this is what you're looking at right now. And I want to just jump in real quick over to the settings. And so it's pretty simple what we're doing here. So it's machine learning. So we ask you to set up your sensitivity. Okay, and if you'll notice, we're following the CAF, subscriptions, resource groups, resource. Now the resources, you say, look, I want this to be not that sensitive. I want to have low sensitivity to how much the machine's paying attention to the upwards or downwards movement of here, because it's only one VM, or it's only a little bit of memory, or whatever it might be. But at the resource group, where it has a bunch of resources, maybe I want to be a little bit more sensitive to that. And then I want to choose, maybe at the subscription level, I want to be highly sensitive to that subscription, because now I have a bunch of resources that are made up in a bunch of resource groups that are part of a big subscription, and that's where the big money's getting paid. So I want to be more sensitive at that level.
And Chris, don't you want to try to set this up so that you get the right amount of alerts and not flooded, so you kind of overlook them over time?
Yeah, it's exactly right, man. And that's why you want to be careful with the sensitivity. You must set it up the right way. And then you notify me of when the subscription is higher than $3, $300, $30, or whatever it is. So maybe you don't want to be notified every time that there's an anomaly over $30 or whatever it might be. We don't know what your threshold is for pain. Maybe it's $3, maybe it's $300. And Kevin, with your type of money, maybe it's $3 billion. I don't know.
I don't even know if I'd set it up, to be honest with you.
Of course, because if I had your money, Michael Sieber would be a rich man. Okay, that's where I'm going to. So anyway, so you set up when you want to get notified. We can notify up to 3 people in your organization, and you'll get notified of an anomaly. And I'll show you what that looks like in 1 second. But let's just jump over to the alerts. So it's a pretty simple comprehension. This is all you do. You set this up, you're done. Some questions might be, hey, Chris, do you need to set this up on every subscription? No, you do not. Can I set it up on just a few? I have 7 subscriptions. I only want it tracking a few. Great. I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't want it tracking all of them. But the point is you can set them up on as many or as few subscriptions that you have.
You need a certain level of administration to be able to do this, Chris?
Well, when you first set it up, you need to have your, Azure Active Directory, guru to accept the application, and then you would probably want to speak with the Azure subscription owners to set up the settings of how sensitive do you want this to be and when do we want to get notified. So yes, Kevin, those would be the two people that I would ask to set it up. But as soon as you set it up, you're pretty much done. So those are the two people. So real quick, let me just go through here. And so again, we're looking at the resource groups, the resources, and of course, we're looking at the different locations within the Azure cloud. So the machine learning here, we're going to come out. You can look at any subscription that you want. So I'm just going to pick Discovery Scout. Now this is really interesting here. The first one I'm looking at here is you can see that what we came up with was the green arrow. This is where, you know, the machine was, you know, basically learning of what's going on. And now we're forecasting, you know, that there's going to be a downward margin here, which is kind of, you know, kind of crazy based upon things. And if you're asking me, how does that do it? I'm not a machine learning algorithm guy, but it's all mathematics. It really is. But you can go back and you can look and you see this is going to be trending downward over to April. And this isn't a budget. This is real-time learning. We can actually forecast what's going to happen. Now, the other interesting thing is you can search by subscription, resource group. You can search by the name. You can only go down to the tags. So if you're tagging your applications, we can you know, you can get notifications by tag. You can get notified when somebody creates something, somebody you know, deletes something, or somebody, or if there's just an anomaly. But in here, you can come in. You can see Enscape Anomaly Detector. That's the name of this subscription, and we can see here that it's the Microsoft Cognitive Services account. It's tagged under Enscape Production, and we can come up here and say, you know what? We see that there's a cost anomaly here of what's going on. Now you can say, well, Chris, this went down. Well, yeah, we notified you that it went down. It's because based upon your past, you know, consumption, this is absolutely an anomaly. And we are going to notify you of that just in case something went awry, that you can know about it. And you can look at this and you can say, well, what happened? And what happens is we give you the old value versus the new value and the properties that it assigned to. So it's easily to go back and do research of why this happened. You can look at that and go from there. So pretty easy concept to understand. But why is it better than budgets? Because again, you could have a budget that says, alert me when I hit 20% of my $100,000 budget. Okay, but meanwhile, you could be having an anomaly that is going up every day, what they call the slow boil, the slow burn. Every day it's consuming $100 more than it should be. And you would never know that until you hit 20% of your budget and then get alerted. Where with Anomaly, we're looking at your cost patterns, your individual cost patterns at the resource level, at the subscription level, and we're going to alert you if we see something. And that's really what it is in a nutshell. So I think I took up my 20 or 30 minutes there because I want to kick it back over to Rob. But Michael or Kevin, any thoughts on this before we kick it off back to Rob?
I love the tool. I mean, I've loved it since I've seen it, right? I mean, because as I kind of in my little straight man there, right, said, hey, if we've got Azure budgets and cost analysis, what all do we need? Well, you do need a lot more. You need something to make sense of it. You need something to really abstract the value out of what it is that's providing, and this is impressive.
Somebody asked, you know, yeah, Michael, you know, somebody asked me, they said, Chris, which one would you start off with? I would start off with Anomaly. And the reason being is that it might take you a year, 2 years to figure out how to properly budget and to properly set all of this. Anomaly goes to work immediately and will notify you based upon your past 60 days that if it sees an anomaly, it's going to alert you right away. Whether your budget is correct or not, it's going to tell you. So
the other thing I could tell you people like, Chris, is in a lot of cases, people are turning on virtual machines. And the people that are actually spending the money don't even know they're doing it. So, you know, unless you set up governance the way you're supposed to as part of the CAP, like we discussed, but you could have 3 or 4 or 5 people, even more, just spinning up virtual machines for different reasons. I'm sure they're legitimate, but they don't understand how the cloud works. They might think that, oh, if I spin this up, well, they don't charge till next month anyway.
Yeah, so, no, and again, Kevin, it's a really good point. Maybe they're not doing it maliciously. They just don't understand it. This whole thing with Anomaly, is more of an insurance policy, right, Michael? It's just an insurance. We're just going to tell you, hey, man, don't wait until the last day of the month and then say, oh, my God, look what happened. Why is my Azure bill so high? Anomaly looks at it through a 24-hour period. And then if it does spot one, it notifies you. So the most you'll have is, a 1-day, 24-hour period where consumption, where you get a charge for the consumption, but it won't be 30, 40, 60, 180 days. So one question that I'm going to ask myself, because I know nobody else has asked it, well, how much is it? Well, this is the great thing about this is that we can work with you to have this included as part of your Azure subscription through something that Microsoft calls PAL, which is the Partner Admin Link, where you simply put in the Sirius Microsoft partner number, and we give you this tool. In return, what Microsoft does, because they don't want to overcharge you. They don't want to get into these arguments of like, hey, I didn't know this either. They pay us a small commission to monitor this on behalf of you with Microsoft. So it's a really win-win. And anybody who's interested, give us a call. We'll show you at the end here, or I can wait. I think it's going to be here. That we can, we'll show you how to go ahead and get a free trial of this, and we can spin this up for you.
Chris, I got a couple of questions from people. Chuck actually asked, and I know how technical you are, so I'm going to really give this to you. Do you know what machine learning algorithms are used and how often they are retained?
Okay, really good. So the machine algorithms we use, I know are Azure's machine algorithm. So that's a Microsoft machine algorithm. I do not know which ones, but we are leveraging Microsoft's machine learning algorithms that could apply to anything, and we've used them with other customers, in supply chain. We're looking at things and all other things that machine learning is applied to. So we're using Microsoft. I don't know which version. You asked a very good question. How long then is the data held on to? I think was your question. So I'm going to answer this in two ways. Today, we have Inscape Anomaly set up in a multi-tenant environment, and meaning that it's running in our Azure tenant, monitoring your consumption. So we're holding on to all this data. We've only chosen to hold on to that data for the first 60 days, okay, and then we only held on that for every 60 days going forward. What we're going to do, though, Kevin, is that we're very, in the short time coming up, we're going to have this up in the Microsoft Azure Marketplace, where you can download Inscape Anomaly to your Azure tenant, and you can hold on to that machine learning data for as long as you would like to. But if you want to hold on to it longer, there's a way that we can go ahead and spin it off into maybe a blob storage account for you in your Azure tenant. I hope that answers your question. Does it get
retrained over time? In other words, does it adjust as things happen over time,
yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And does that happen on a daily basis, weekly, monthly?
Daily basis.
Oh, okay. Because I believe it or not, I said retained. He wanted retrained. So we got really two answers out of the same question. So.
Yes, but no, it's always being retrained. So if you have a batch job that runs every Saturday or something like that, the machine will learn that. And it's not, it will not notify. If it happens on a Monday, it will notify you. And then if you're like, well, I changed that. I changed it to run on a Tuesday instead of a Saturday. You will get the first alert. You will get that first alert that, hey, there's something going on. We've never seen this batch job run on a Saturday, on a Tuesday before. It's only been a Saturday. So you would get an alert. You would. And you could say, well, that's a false positive. Well, it's only a false positive for that week, okay, for that day, because then after that, it's going to learn that, hey, it's done it before, and it gets there. I'm not a machine learning guy, but I can definitely get you in touch with the guy who built it and will tell you more.
All right, one more question here. So does Microsoft not have any tools within Azure to detect anomalies or runaway costs?
No, that's why we built it. That's exactly why. Everything they've built is static. They've built a cost analysis. Fantastic. We have built a budget where it's all manual. You put your budget in. We'll notify you when you're at X percentage of your budget. We'll notify you if we think you're going to exceed your budget in a week, but there's nothing there saying like, hey, yesterday, you had this happen.
Okay, great. That's all I got for now. Well, we'll keep following questions as they come in.
Okay, awesome, Kevin. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks. And I think we're handing it over to Rob now. I think Rob's going to talk a little bit about our signature support offering and how this offering is helping our customers also save money. So Dr. Rob Vogel, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. I have to say, you're a really good hype man. So I hope I can build up, keep the same level of energy that you had this whole presentation.
All right.
But feel free to go to the next slide. But it's good afternoon, everyone. As Chris said, my name is Rob Vogel. I'm the manager of managed services and support at MessageOps and Sirius. I am going to talk to you a little bit today about signature support. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a little bit of a history lesson of kind of where we came from when we built this offering. So in the past year or so, Microsoft has created a new offering known as Unified Support, which is kind of taking the place of Premier Support. If you've heard of Premier Support before or had that offering with them, it was a per hour basis support contract that you'd pay for whatever hours you needed, for whatever Microsoft support you needed. They've kind of gone away from providing that support offering any longer, and they've now moved over to what they're calling unified support. And we will talk a little bit about the differences between them, but what you really have to understand with unified support is it is an unlimited support offering, so it is no longer based on hours. It is an unlimited support offering across the entire Microsoft stack. But the way that they are now pricing it is based off of a percentile of your overall EA spend with them. So for a lot of clients, it makes a lot of sense. If you're opening up 300 to 400 tickets a year, you need a lot of assistance. Maybe that works really, really well for you. But what we notice with a lot of our clients, especially the Microsoft ones that we've worked with for many years, is that maybe they only open up 10 tickets a year, 20 tickets a year. They use it, as Chris kind of said before with Anomaly, almost kind of like an insurance policy. Hey, I only really need support when something really big happens or where we really need the assistance. And maybe a unified support offering just doesn't make sense. I don't need unlimited support. I just need support when something happens a few times a year or a couple times a year, even 100 times a year. Maybe that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to spend the pricing for a percentile of my EA spend that Microsoft is asking for. So we worked actually hand in hand with Microsoft. So this is not in direct competition with them. It's something that we built directly with them as a partner-led offering to provide signature support, which it on its face is very similar. If you've had a Microsoft Premier Support plan in the past, we built it very, very similar in that regard. It is an hourly support program. You purchase a bucket of hours that to be used for the year across any Microsoft deployment. So, if you have a lot of on-prem equipment, Active Directory, SQL, Visual Studio, what have you, and you needed assistance in those particular items, we will absolutely help you with it. If you're, a hybrid scenario where you're also using Microsoft 365, Azure, SharePoint Online, we'll help you with that as well. Or even if you're fully in the cloud, that is also something that we assist with. As Chris and Michael mentioned earlier, we've migrated tons of people to the cloud, over to Teams and all the different cloud offerings. And to do that, you need a really strong engineering staff, and that's what we're leaning on for this signature support offering. We offer US-based Microsoft support. All of our engineers are highly certified in different Microsoft technologies, whether that be on-premise or in the cloud. We offer both level 1 and level 2. So if you have a generic question like, how do I set up subscription-based licensing in Office 365? Great, we can definitely answer that and help walk you along in it. Or if you have something like, hey, I'm setting up a domain controller in Azure and I need help syncing it with, replication on-premise. Fine, we can definitely assist with that as well. It doesn't matter what the deployment is. The one caveat to that is it has to be a product that is currently supported by Microsoft, so not an end-of-life product. So for example, if you come and say, hey, I have real issues with Windows Server 2003, there's really no escalation path for that product. So we'll definitely assist you in upgrading those servers or figuring out an upgrade path. But if it's not supported by Microsoft, not a whole lot we can really do with that. But typically, what we've seen with people looking at unified support and our signature support offering is we've saved people on an average 30 to 50% of the bill that they're seeing with Unified, or even maybe a past Premier contract that they've had with Microsoft. So it's definitely a good opportunity there in saving cost, from a partner perspective, doing a partner-led support perspective. And some other value adds is you are actually assigned a technical account manager, same that you would be with Microsoft, who will assist you on your support journey, whether that is figuring out, hey, what proactive support do I want to look at for the year? I know I'm rolling out teams. Where can I maybe use some of these hours for assistance? We offer both reactive and proactive support. So if you just need break fix support, I just need help when something's broken, we can absolutely assist you with that. We have dedicated, subject matter experts across the different Microsoft stacks. So, we're available across different technologies, and also access to different MessageOps tools, that we've built over the years. Chris showed you Anomaly, but we have quite a few different ones that we've built, over the years to assist our clients.
So, Rob, just a real quick question. So basically, the customers, they call us. And as Rob, right, we have a lot of great Microsoft engineers, been doing it for years. If we can't resolve the issue, we send it up to Microsoft. So it's not like we're going to leave them, right? We're with them the whole time when we're on the phone with Microsoft, correct?
Yep, it's absolutely, one touch, one phone number. You call us, you are assigned an engineer who is with you the entire way until that issue is completed, whether that's resolved by us or if it's a bug or a patch fix that Microsoft has to implement, you're with us every step of the way.
Awesome. Right. So it's not, it's really, you're not giving up Microsoft, you're just getting Sirius along with it. So that's what you're getting. Yeah.
And let me make sure I got this straight, Rob. This is any current Microsoft product that's under support. Anyone. It doesn't matter on-premise, in the cloud, desktop, server, doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Now, typically we do state that this is really meant for, the administrative engineering staff.
Yes.
To really assist with big issues. It's not really typically used for end user support, unless it's affecting multiple end users that you need to have something resolved. It is really for the, the higher end engineers within a particular organization.
Good question.
Comment. Yeah.
Right. It's not an end user support. Right. Okay. So we got 3 levels here, right, Rob?
Yep, absolutely. So we have 3 different flavors of signature support. The first one, just named signature, is really meant for break fix support. So if you wanted to purchase, let's say 75 hours of support, you can use those hours across, as Kevin said, any particular deployment of Microsoft on-prem, in the cloud, what have you. We do follow the same SLAs that Microsoft has. So, in terms of severities that Premier support will use. But what we typically see, though, is that we answer a lot faster than Microsoft would in terms of that. 30 minutes, actually, instead of, say, if you opened up a sub-C ticket, that may take 4 hours. We typically have somebody assigned and reaching out to you within 30 minutes. You have access to our ticketing portal. So if you prefer not to talk to somebody on the phone or email us in your support question, we also will allow you guys access to a portal where you can submit tickets and you can actually review the tickets on the fly. So as our engineers are putting in notes or things to try, you'll get those notes immediately and can review them within the portal. As I said earlier, you got a technical account manager who's with you through your support journey. So they will assist you with, if you want to just some information of, hey, how many hours have I used, through this offering, for the year, they can absolutely pull that for you. If you had any Microsoft questions, concerns, they're there to assist you. If maybe we had to escalate a ticket to Microsoft and it's not going as quickly as you would like, we absolutely have individuals within Microsoft we can escalate to have tickets either reassigned, pushed up to maybe a different engineering team, but that TAM is there to assist you with that as well. And anything else, from maybe a proactive standpoint as well. We also are doing reporting, which thank you, Chris, for popping that on there. Reporting is we both do a monthly report that is sent out to you, again, to show you, hey, what tickets have been open, how much time has been spent on these tickets, what is my current consumption looking like, am I good for the rest of the year, do I need to possibly add on additional hours? As well as a monthly meeting where the TAM will sit down with you, discuss, hey, here's what you guys have. You have a lot of hours maybe possibly left for the year that you're not using for break fix support. Is there maybe a proactive engagement you'd like to do? Have you rolled out Teams yet to your organization? Do you want to maybe move some servers into Azure? Whatever your journey is, we're there to figure it out and use the hours that you paid for appropriately.
Maybe you could use, like I said, for some of those people who are interested in setting up the Azure CAF. You can utilize, for reactive support, but also on the proactive side, if you wanted to, roll out, Azure governance or something. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said previously, we follow the exact same SLAs as Microsoft. So, in a situation, and hopefully it doesn't happen to you, where you have a SEV or critical issue, we will have an engineer assigned and working with you, like I said, usually within 30 minutes to figure out what is going on with this. And then if we need to kick it up to Microsoft, we have direct access to Microsoft Premier Support engineers who we can loop in and work on it as a team to get it resolved. And that is a 24/7 service. So if you have a critical problem, you need it, help with it in 3 in the morning, we're there to assist you.
So this is what you don't cover, right? I just want to make sure. Yeah, right. What's not covered.
Correct. So as we said, end user issues, that is typically something that should be handled, within the organization. And those are just some examples on there. If you're having some printer problems, everybody who works in IT support knows that those usually crop up, as well as virus or malware. Again, that is outside of, the Office 365 space. If that's, something that's happening within the service, we'll absolutely try to help you. But from a desktop perspective, not so much. Same with hardware. If you're having actual hardware issues with a laptop, a desktop, a server, a mobile phone, that wouldn't be covered under this support. And the same with user management. Administration of your organization should still be handled by your organization. And then third-party solutions, examples being like MFA. Obviously, we can assist you with Microsoft-based MFA, conditional access policies, what have you. But if you're using something like Okta or Duo, those are usually recommended to go through those organizations for assistance. Networking like firewalls and switches, that wouldn't fall under support. And as I said, hardware for servers as well. And then to give kind of just a context of, the unified support plan that Microsoft, came out with, as I said, on the left-hand side, you could see Premier Support did it based off support hours that were purchased, and they assigned a TAM, or what Microsoft is now calling a Client Success Account Manager, or CSAM, and followed particular SLAs, and their pricing was based off of per hour consumption. So you bought 100 hours, however many hours, whether you used them or not, you were charged for those hours that you purchased. Where unified support is unlimited, but the caveat being is it is a percentile of your overall EA spend, which, based on how big your organization is, how much you spend with Microsoft, that could easily double or triple the amount of your support plan compared to Premier Support.
And Rob, I got a couple questions from the audience, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So when you escalate to Microsoft, is it to a higher level within Microsoft, or is it the same level as a Premier?
So it is a tier 3 or tier 4 engineer within Microsoft. But the nice thing is, because we're a gold partner and we work very closely with Microsoft on a partner basis, we usually can pull engineers from different groups a lot faster, because we're talking to higher level CSAMs within the organization.
Okay. And then I got another one here. It says, so does the customer pay extra for these services directly to Sirius? The answer would be yes, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it would be yes. I would definitely like some more context around that question.
Well, no, we're just going through Sirius. You're not paying Microsoft for it.
No, that's correct. Yep. So you're working with Sirius engineers, MessageOps engineers who do this day in and day out. There's a very good chance that when you bring us, an issue, we've probably seen it before. We work on numerous cases a day, and then we pull in Microsoft when it is necessary. Again, there may be a bug or a patch fix that we just don't have access to resolve.
And that's how you can increase your or decrease your time to resolution, right? Because you've seen it so many times. You get a guy on the phone within 30 minutes. Hopefully, that will speed up the time to resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if it's something that's happening, let's just say from a Microsoft Cloud perspective, maybe Microsoft rolled out something, new, and it's causing some issues. There's a good chance that before you've even submitted a ticket, we've seen it 20 times and we know what the resolution is for it, because we've already dealt with it.
You got it. Okay, that's all I got for you right now.
Perfect. And I know on the previous slide, Chris, that was just some clients, client write-ins that we had regarding testimonials of client satisfaction. As Chris said, we definitely have won awards from Microsoft and abroad, regarding our customer satisfaction. And what Chris has up on here is that, before we ever even get started with signature support, we like to do a deep dive with you to understand what your support needs are with Microsoft. So by submitting a request to that webpage, the messageops.com/get started, we can actually do a free assessment of you to look at, previous consumption information, tickets that you've had with Microsoft in the past, and tailor, your signature support program to what fits you and your needs. That we find that works out the best to determine how many hours you may need for the year, and across what Microsoft technology, so we can be appropriately prepared and have the right engineers ready for you. All right, thanks, Chris. I believe that's everything on my side. And you may be muted if you didn't know.
Hitting that mute button. Coming back to that mute button. Yeah, thanks, Rob. Chris is still searching for that, clicking on the mute. You can see the eyes gazing. He's looking around. All right. Yeah, thanks, Rob. That was great. And I guess to further elaborate on the pay, right? I mean, the whole tremendous value, and as this is Michael Sieber again, kind of the legacy Sirius representation here. This was one of the more exciting offerings I remember talking to some of our current customers about, and based on the questions here, right? It's almost like this is too good to be true, and it's not. I mean, it is an incredible offering that's been put together, leveraging the skills of the MessageOps team combined with the skills of the legacy Sirius team, and only take to Microsoft the problems we haven't seen. But to Kevin's and Rob's point, we've seen a lot of problems, solved a lot of problems. Yeah. And when you take that and you're able to go into that resource pool and try and solve things, that's what brings the overall cost down to clients. When we're able to tap into our resources first and only go to Microsoft when absolutely necessary. And as Rob said at the outset, it's all managed by a serious MessageOps client success manager, right, to kind of take your hand through the whole thing. Just a tremendous offering, great value to our clients.
A couple more questions coming in from the audience, Chris. So Sirius is just the first line of defense for Microsoft issues using a block of hours. That's the question. Is that the right answer?
That's basically it. I mean, if you're wondering, like from a business perspective, that's what we've done at Sirius, right? We went out and we committed to big block hour support, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's really what we've done is we bought all the support and we can utilize those hours as we see fit, working with our customers. So once again, I think this is not something we created on our own. We created it in tandem and in collaboration with Microsoft. Mm-hmm. So what we're trying to do is say, hey, look, you know what? If you were saying, hey, look, you know what? I'm the type of guy who calls Microsoft 10 times a year, 15 times a year. I don't want it to be a percentage of my enterprise agreement. I don't want it to be. Great, we got a solution for you. If you call Microsoft all the time and you feel that you're abusing the hell out of it and the percentage of your EA spend is the best bargain in the world, then maybe this isn't the right solution for you. But we found, as Michael Sieber said, a lot of customers who are saying, hey, look, you know what? I don't call them a lot. But when I do need them, and I need quick resolution, and I want to get to the issue, and I want to get to the right level, to get this resolved. And that's where we have found a lot of, your peers, everybody in the audience has found value in signature support. But yes, to your point, that is correct.
So when they buy a block of hours, and then whether they use them for support or at the end of the year, if they want to use them for other things, like you mentioned, rolling out a new service or training someone on a new product, they can use those hours so that they don't waste the hours at the end of the year.
That is correct. It is a use it or lose it contract. It is. If you buy 70 hours and you don't use it, neither a reactive or proactive, yes, it's gone. But we genuinely don't want that. We're not trying to take advantage of anybody. We're as Rob said, we're going to be calling you saying, hey, look, you got 6 months left on this. You haven't made a call yet. How would you like us to do an AD assessment for you? Or whatever it might be. We'll talk about it, and we want to be proactive. Michael, I mean, that's been serious. We're not here to take advantage of anybody.
Exactly.
So, right. We're not out here to try. Hey, the great news is they never called us. We kept the money. Nuh-uh. That's not our bag. We want to be out here helping you in a reactive or proactive way.
Yep.
Great. That's all I got for you, Chris.
Okay. Well, listen, man. Jeez, look at this. We came in right on time here today. I would like to thank Kevin Vogel, Rob Vogel, Michael Sieber. Thank you all and all the attendees today. We appreciate it. I hope you found value in 2 ways that you might not have known before. on one of how to control, and don't be like, oh my God, why is my Azure bill so high? Inscape Anomaly is a great insurance that works. It will notify you, will save you money, and never walk into that meeting of why the hell is the Azure bill so high this month? And that won't happen again. And then also with signature support on how there's an alternative to what Microsoft is offering as well. So everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And thank you for your time today. And we'll speak to you all soon.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.